quick, I'm going to interrupt just a second, just in case you don't know what this spinal bifida is. By the way, he was born with a spinal cord on the outside of his body. Now, today, we have a lot more technology. In fact, before the baby's born, they can find this out and do the procedures even before they're born. But back in the 70s, sorry, I didn't mean to call you out like that. The technology just wasn't quite there. And so, talk about obstacles and challenges. I did a little research on it myself to look up back in that time period. The odds of an infant with severe open spinal bifida surviving into adulthood was about 40%. In fact, the approximately 25 to 40% of babies did not survive their first year of life. I mean, think about that. That's more than 1 in 4 wouldn't survive the first year. This dude is he shouldn't be walking. Like, and he's mobile, he's walking, he is an absolute miracle, overcoming incredible odds. And so I'm sorry to interrupt on that part, but I just thought it was important that y'all knew a little bit about that condition he was born with, the challenges then to overcome that. But what was that like, even like going to school?
Well, elementary school, it was really rough. I am the son of a retired Marine, so I had kids that were always moving every few years, friends that would come and go. But I endured a lot of, I won't say verbal bullying, but I had a lot of people that would make fun of me because of how spinal bifida and hydrocephalus has affected me, and just all sorts of terrible things that really eventually got to me and my mental health, where I ended up as a teenager, ended up in a long-term or 2 long-term treatment centers for depression and suicidal thoughts and anger issues. Mm-hmm. Growing up, my dad was on deployments a lot, so he wasn't always there when these things were going on. But I eventually got to a point where the bullying or the verbal bullying stopped. People started accepting me for how I am. I got better, my mental health got better. I ended up in high school, this was after my second long-term facility treatment. I was in high school and I ended up having to repeat my freshman and sophomore years because it was so hard to get used to being back in, I guess, regular society, because I had been in treatment away from family and for about 15 months out of a 2-year period. And so it was really difficult. Finally, things sort of settled down for me. People started treating me better, and I eventually, on my 21st birthday, graduated from high school, and it's been okay since then. A few years later, after high school, I ended up in a relationship that I should have never been in. The woman I was with turned me against family and friends. I had lost a lot of friends because of this person, and I had lost some of the relationship with my mom, who's I'm closest to, but my whole family, pretty much, I turned against for this 2 years that I was with this person, and it was hard. And the relationship, I'm glad now that it ended when it did, but it ended kind of abruptly, and with no reason why it ended. But the only reason I was given when it was over was that this person only dated me because they felt sorry for me. Mm-hmm. You can imagine what that did to me. And for the next 3 years, I ended up going out and hanging friends and drinking. At first, I was drinking just to relax and have fun with my friends. A few drinks a night. I was going out every night and drinking. And slowly, as time went on, I started drinking more and more, not to have fun, but to forget the pain that I had been in all my life from everything I've been through, until 3 years had passed and I was 29 years old, and by the time I was 29, I had turned into an alcoholic. Now, I never drank at home because my parents didn't really drink, so I was not tempted to drink at home, but every night I went out with friends, I was so drunk that a lot of times I had to be carried out of the bar and up to the house, into my room. I remember the last night that I drank, I had gotten so drunk that two of my friends at the time had to carry me out of the bar, carry me upstairs, and this is when we lived in our old house. It was a 2-story house, and they had to carry me up the stairs and put me in my bed. At the time, my dad was away on business. I think he was in California, and so it was just me and my mom there. And I was so drunk that I was kind of loud, or not kind of loud, but I was kind of just crazy. And I woke up my mom, and she was not happy. And she asked, I distinctly remember this, she had asked the two friends that had brought me home if they had ever had to do that much, bring me home in that state, and they said no. And I remember I tried to explain myself, and Mom wasn't having any of that.
Way to go, Mama.
Told me to go to bed, sleep it off. And I remember the next day, my friends had laid me in bed that night, but the next day, in the afternoon, I woke up and I was in the fetal position on the floor by one of my windows in my room. So I don't know how I got there, but some point in the night, that's how I ended up. And when I woke up, it hit me. I can't be doing this anymore. I was forgetting what day it was, what I had done the night before, how much I had drank the night before. And I was like, God, you gotta help me. I can't do this anymore. It's taking a toll on me, both physically and mentally. And so I decided right then and there that I was going to stop drinking and remain sober the rest of my life. Funny thing is that night I went right back out to the bar with my friends, but from that time on, I told my friends, do not let me drink. Sure enough, they didn't let me drink, and I became known at the bar that we went to as the Dr. Pepper guy, because that's all I would drink from there. That was all I would drink from there on. And September 15th of this year, I will have been sober for 19 years. And after that period of drinking and trying to drown my pain, I started going back to church. I had not been in church for several years because church just wasn't important to me after growing up going to church every Sunday with my family. And eventually, after several years of going to a few different churches, in 2020, sometime in 2020, I found Liberty, and my mom was the one that actually recommended Liberty. She told me about it. I was like, okay, I'll go check it out. Sounds interesting. Went my first Sunday there. Pastor Mike and his family weren't there. They were out of town.
Of
and
course.
I had known at that first Sunday that I was home. But the next week when he was there and I heard him preach for the first time, I was like, yeah, I'm home. This is where I need to be. And my parents weren't going to church at the time, and Pastor Mike knows this. A lot of you who know my story know this. it took me 2 years of praying really, really hard before I finally got my parents to come here, and they've been going here ever since. And it's been a blessing to have my family here. My brother, who's here with his family, I've been here the last few weeks after he's gotten out of the Army, and I'm hoping that they'll be coming here regularly. But it's nice having my whole family here, like when I grew up, having my whole family at church. I still have a younger brother that nobody's met here yet. He lives in Atlanta with his wife. So I don't know if he'll ever come here, but I've got the one brother who I used to torment growing up until he wised up and started fighting back, and I was like, no, I'm not with you anymore. My brother has become one of my best friends. I may have tormented him a lot when I was growing up, but I'm grateful for the relationship that we have now. And I actually look up to him and consider him like the older brother, even though I'm about 2 years older than him. So, but I found liberty. I've been here for 6 years now. Some of y'all don't see me a lot of times because I'm in the back running screens for the service. But this is truly home for me, and I have made some true friends here that are lifelong friends. Y'all know who you are. It's pretty much everybody here. I never found a church growing up that made me feel like I feel like here. And like I said, I feel like I'm at home here, and I couldn't thank God enough for bringing me to Liberty, and especially for my mom telling me about Liberty. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't be here. But yeah, that's pretty much my story. Like I said, I lost friends after I got sober, and I still talk to a few of them. I don't see them all the time, and I don't talk to them all the time, but I do have two friends in particular that have been with me and have been through what I went through. They never turned their back on me. One of them is someone I consider my older sister. Her name is Tina, but I call her Sissy because that's what she is to me. She's my older sister, not blood, but still. And then my high school best friend, Brad, who's been to a couple of churches that I went to in the past ever since I had left the church I grew up in. He wasn't able to make it here this morning, but he's been another one that never turned his back on me, been through a lot with me, and if I had anything that I needed, those two were always there for me, and they're still here for me to this day. And those two friends in particular are family like everyone here, and I'm just so blessed to still be here at 48 years old, being disabled. And a lot of people don't like that word. I really don't like the word, but I am just blessed to be here, still breathing. And like I said, Pastor Mike has said that I've been wanting to share my story for the last year, and I'm glad to finally be given the chance to tell my story. And that's pretty much all I've been through and how I came here.
Yep, a lot of obstacles. A lot of challenges, a lot of things to overcome, and had to have a lot of people carry his mat for a long time. You know, I know, Mama, you've done a great job of doing that. And like he said, growing up in church, but then just went through a season where he walked away for a while, you know? And the Bible says, raise up a child the way that they should go, and they'll come back. They'll come back, and what a great example of that. But what I love about Travis's story is that for a while he needed somebody to carry his mat. He needed somebody to help him get back to Jesus. And he got there. He got back. And he didn't just stop at that. And he could. He's got a lot of challenges, a lot of physical challenges, a lot of things to overcome. This dude, I cannot slow him down. He's always asking, Pastor, is there something else I could be doing? Is there somewhere else I can be serving? Is there something else I can help with? Is there something else I can do to it? And then to keep inviting his family. He knew that, his family, they love Jesus, but at the time just weren't going to church. The other church, something had happened, and they'd kind of dissolved, and they're looking, but they just haven't really been to church in a while, and he just stayed on them. He just stayed on him. Hey, you got to try Liberty. I know you love it. I know you love it. And sure enough, as soon as she came, she's like, oh, it's family immediately. Like, we just took her in like our own mama. And
I was so happy when she said that she was home the first Sunday she had ever been here.
Yes.
Didn't know anybody here yet. And to hear her say that she'd be back definitely after I asked her how she enjoyed the first service that she went to, I'm just amazed that God had brought us all back into the same church.
Yep. So there he is. He's already carrying him out. He's bringing his family in. He's getting them in here. He's serving it back there with the screens. Anything he can do, he's like, let me do more. We've had a lot of lunches and times together just talking, and he's always like, man, I just wish I could help my mom more. I know there's more I could be doing at home. I know there's more I could do to help her out. He's always wanting to serve. And talk about obstacles and challenges. There's a lot of physical limitations. It does not slow this dude down. He just wants to serve more and do more. And it's absolute inspiration. It really is. It just makes me like so excited to see what God's doing in your life, to see the spiritual growth in this young man, watching him follow Jesus and like overcome challenges and obstacles and keep fighting and keep inviting friends and keep inviting other friends. Even today, he's inviting all, come here, I'm going to tell my story. Come in. He's picking up that mat and he's bringing more people to Jesus. And I couldn't be more proud of you and what God's doing in your life. Amen? Well, come on, give him a hand. He did a great job. Great job. Love that. Love that. Well, in this series, we'll do probably a couple more stories that you're going to hear as we go through the series, and we're going to look at it from different angles, like different things that God's going to share through this series. So I've asked a couple of y'all specifically because of your story that it hits on one of these topics and areas, and so you're not going to want to miss it, guys. Get back here for this series. If you do miss one, you got to catch it online because you're not going to miss hearing these stories, getting to know your brothers and sisters in Christ a little better, and so get back to this series. We love y'all. Blessings. But real quick, today's kind of special because we're officially summer break. Kids are out of school, most of them. I don't know if any of y'all are still in school. All my kids are out of school. And so Heather went all out, and she got a bunch of ice cream. So as we're leaving, make sure you all and your kids grab some ice cream on the way out. We're just going to share it, have a good time together. Don't rush out, love on each other. Let your kids play and eat some ice cream before you take off and go home this afternoon. But we love you guys. Blessings. We'll see you back real soon.